Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of
A BJJ Marriage, where we talk about our lives as a married Jiu-Jitsu couple. We did it. Do you know how many times that I accidentally press the button before he does, and then he's just like, we gotta start over.
It's okay.
Or the amount of times we forgot to lock the dogs out, and then they would barrel
They would
down
come
the
right in,
stairs,
yeah.
and then we're like, okay, we gotta restart again. I think there was one time we got 9 minutes in, and then we were like, dogs here, we gotta start over.
We gotta start over, yeah, no problem.
Anyway, welcome, guys. Another episode of A BJJ Marriage with your hosts, Nick Lee, Brittany Lee, and our
Hello.
special guest today, Anthony Portugues.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
He's excited.
I'm really
Yes,
excited.
I'm excited. Anthony is one of our awesome white belt training partners.
Mm-hmm.
He remembered his belt this
Mhm.
episode.
I did, look at that. It's not tied properly, but
It's okay. No burn to Jason or Michael at all. None. Zero.
Yes, but Anthony trains with us at Fluid. He trains Jujitsu with us. He also trains Muay Thai and
Muay Thai.
kickboxing with us,
Mhm.
which is cool
Pow,
because
pow.
not many people train that at our gym.
Yeah.
So it sets him apart.
No, it definitely does. I mean, I've been doing it, for like almost 3 years now?
Oh,
2.5
yeah.
years? Straight, too. I mean, I remember when I first started, what was it? I think it took me a month to do the Muay Thai class with
Mhm.
Jeff at that time. But, like...
It's intimidating.
It's very, very intimidating. But it was one of the things, like, when I first got into Fluid, and the first class was on a Tuesday, because I had my set days as Tuesday and Thursdays
Yeah.
to train, and, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to commit to, this is what it is, whatever. So I came in one time, like, around 6:30 or whatever, get there early, and I saw the Muay Thai class.
Yeah.
And I've always loved striking. Like,
Yeah.
I've always, I've watched boxing and kickboxing my whole life, and it always pulled me in, and I always loved striking. And I saw that, and I'm like, I'm definitely doing this, because I'm crazy enough. I'm crazy enough to do that and jujitsu all in one day, right? Like, I
Yeah.
know I can do it. And that next week, that first Muay Thai class, Jesus, dude.
Go home super sober.
And then
You just feel like, what the fuck happened
what
to
the
me?
fuck just happened to me? And then follow that up with Rob's class.
Yo, oh my
You
God.
guys remember Rob's class? I mean,
Oh.
shout outs to Rob. If you watch this, man, I miss you, buddy. Come back, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And follow up with that, like, I was really, 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 really tired.
Yeah.
And I was sore as hell. And I went home, let Otis out. I fell asleep. I
His
woke
dog.
up like, my dog, yeah.
Not his wife.
Yeah, his wife, yeah. Funny.
Oh, yeah.
I went straight to sleep. I was out for like 12 hours.
Oh my God.
Dude, I was done. I was like, okay. And then from there, I got into the mindset, okay, I like this. It's cool. It's high intensity, like high,
Yes.
really intense training. And I needed that because I do work an office job. That's the other thing too. So I'm sitting down 8 hours a day. Sometimes,
Mhm.
I stand up, go to the bathroom, whatever. But most of the time, I'm sitting down doing nothing. So it was perfect. I was like, I can get up and be active. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, that first year was rough though. Like I couldn't do a switch kick for a year and a half. I was terrible at it. My kicks were terrible. My punching apparently was pretty good from the start. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm good at that.
Yeah.
My kicks took a long time, but I was willing to put in the time to learn. And now I'm like, I'm all right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're a fun partner.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I know that you love watching combat sports. We
Yeah.
talk about UFC often. We've had you over to watch fights. She's been
I've
to
been
your
to
place
his
to watch
house.
fights.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, how has training in Muay Thai and in Jiu-Jitsu helped you appreciate the sport or change your views on the sport in any way?
Oh, man, a lot more. Because, like, now, the first fight I think I was here for was Adesanya Acosta, right?
Yeah,
Or was it
that
another
sounds
one?
right.
I don't remember. But
I don't know, but we were right there.
we were right there. We
Yeah.
were right there. We're talking about it. What the crazy thing about it was, like, every time Adesanya did something, I can call it. I can name it. I was like, he did a question mark kick. I was like, oh, okay. He's going into side control. Like, I know what to do. I'm thinking about what to do there. When is it?
Yeah.
And your
It's-
brain's just like, oh my God.
My brain just explodes now. And it's
Yes.
like, oh my God. It just opened my eyes up to the sport a whole lot more and just looking at these techniques.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I do them now. I'm like, oh my God. And the other thing is, too, I do criticize. I'm like, okay, listen, I think I would be doing this here rather than doing that. Because Acosta, that fight was pissing me off. He was like not doing anything.
You're
I kept
just sitting there.
Yeah, I was like, you're sitting there, like, do something. I was like, kick his leg. I don't know, like, something. I know I would do something. I would get whooped, but I'm like, I would do something. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're the main event, you're there for a reason. You should know how to kick a leg.
You should know how to kick a leg. Like, do one leg kick, man. I'll be happy.
Stand there.
Yeah, stand there, and then
I forgot the controls.
Yeah, really.
like Masvidal. Did you watch? You watched Masvidal, right? Like 2 weeks ago.
Covington.
Yeah.
And Nick and I were watching it in the airport. We were literally sitting on the floor in the airport waiting for our baggage, watching this, and we're just sitting there like, what is he doing? Why is he not doing anything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
gotta do something, bro.
You gotta do something. And one thing about that fight is like, I can tell Masvidal. Well, one thing is too, because MMA is like two different things. Like, you gotta have your stand up, you gotta have your jiu-jitsu,
and your wrestling.
Wrestling, right? One thing about that fight, Masvidal did impress me. Like his his ground game was actually pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, because he was defensive. He didn't get choked out.
He didn't get choked out or anything. Like, I kind of look at it like that. Like, he didn't get submitted or anything.
Yeah, he was in a less dominant position for sure, but he wasn't in like shitty positions because Colby couldn't do anything. He couldn't punch him. He couldn't submit him, and he was just like dogging him.
So he's playing a lot of defense.
Right.
Instead of offense.
Right.
And I think that exhausted him a lot more. Like,
and that's not going to win you a fight for sure.
It's not.
But you're not going to get finished either.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I was more impressed with that. And then, like, towards the end, he was trying to punch or whatever, but, like, he was exhausted. And that's the other thing, like, wrestling is exhausting.
Yes.
Jiu-Jitsu is exhausting. Especially when you're, like, got someone in side control or whatever. It is the most demoralizing, exhausting thing.
Being under your side control is demoralizing.
That's what I've heard. And, like, I didn't know. Good. Dude, I guess it's a good thing. Like, okay, so it's been, like, 2 or 3 years since I've done this. And I've never heard anybody, like, say, Anthony, like, this is good. They can do this. I haven't heard it one time, right? So, like, a couple of weeks ago, I was rolling with Garrick. It was after. And then Garrick makes a comment. He's like, God, man, your side control's insufferable. And I was like, what?
He said that?
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, and I was like, really? I looked at him. I was like, I've never heard anybody say that to me. And I felt like, oh, hey, I guess I am doing something right.
Your side control's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, remember when you kept telling me, you're like, you're so freaking spinny. And I'm like, that's because I hate being in your side control.
Dude, was driving me crazy. I'm like, Brittany's like flipping and like moving. I'm like, can you stay still so I can like work? And I'm like, I liked it because I'm like, someone's going to do that to me eventually when I'm trying to like, whatever. And like Brittany's just like, and I'm like, I can't stop you.
The way Mark Holler says it is Mark Holler goes, yeah, you just go.
That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome.
It's my defense.
Yeah. So you got 2 stripes now. Yeah. Your white belt. Yeah. So you're coming around to that cusp of I'm no longer a beginner idiot at jiu-jitsu. I'm starting to learn things that work, especially after a few years of dedication. Yeah. And that's where I think it's good that you're hearing that because it validates you a little bit and keeps you motivated. Yeah,
it definitely does, man. Because I'm like, damn. I was like, okay, what else can I do in side control now? It's even worse for people. I'm like, all right. And then now, like, the other thing is, too, like, where my mind is going now, which is, it's really interesting. So, like, the other day, like, I was just sitting down and I'm like, okay. Because what I like to do now a lot is I like to do a lot of Kimuras. Okay. And I like to do Kimuras from different positions. Okay. So every time I see an arm or grab an arm, I'm like, okay, let me just do this. And literally the other day, I was like, what if I put this leg over like this and then do this? Right? And I'm like, I think that's a triangle. And I'm like, okay, cool. Granted, I have no one at home to practice this on unless my girlfriend volunteers.
I imagined you were at home at your desk thinking about this.
Yeah, dude, I was at home at my desk thinking about it. And I was like, dude, that is awesome. But where can I practice? No. Okay, let me just keep thinking about it. And maybe I'll try it this week and we'll see what happens. But like my mind goes in different places now because I'm like, okay, I can do this like this, I can do that like that. In the beginning, you don't think like that because it's like you're just thinking about surviving. You're thinking about like trying to do things, trying to be cool, or I need to beat this guy, whatever. That took me a while to get over. By the way, I think my first roll took 6 months. I didn't roll with anybody for 6 months. Wow. I don't know if anybody noticed that. Like I didn't. I would literally be done with training, go home. Yeah, because in my opinion, I was like, I think I need more time. I need to work on. Once I feel comfortable, then I'll do it. So once that 6 months came up, I was like, okay, now I'm rolling. And the one thing that I couldn't stand was side control. I couldn't stand it. I was like, why am I here? Why am I stuck? And why can't I get out? Like, this is just annoying. Yeah. And I'm tired. And I'm like, this is just whatever. And then that's where the class with Rob, I learned the Pac-Man. Right, and I do that a lot.
Waka waka.
Waka waka. Exactly, dude. I love that thing so much, and I catch almost everybody with it. The only person that I can't
Sorry,
I won't say any names. No. It's Nick. But like everybody else, I'm like, okay, wait. You're going to go flying, dude, and it's going to be great.
That's fantastic.
It's a great sweep.
It really is. I did it to Bon Tempo before the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. He gets really mad about it.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it works, man.
Yeah, it works. It's legit.
Such a good
For those
technique.
of you who don't know, Bon Tempo is he's probably around 260 right now, but he goes between 260 and 300 depending where he's at in his life point right now.
He's getting down there.
He is. He's losing weight right now, which is awesome. But basically, I'm trying to say, like, Bon Tempo's a big dude.
Yeah.
And if Anthony can literally get this dude off of him with, like, one little C grip, that's how we're talking about how it's a cool move.
It's a really good move and it's effective. And that's one move I try to teach because when I roll new white belts, that's the first thing I say, damn it, what's up with side control? And I'm like, and I tell them, I'm like, look, it's probably going to take you 5 to 6 months to maybe get out of side control. Maybe. Right? Depending on how fast you pick up on it or whatever. But let me teach you this one thing. And I'm like, and I literally show them the Pac-Man. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like literally just do this. And you'll get someone off of you. Granted, you might not because, someone will just do this or whatever.
Yeah, every move has a counter.
But the point is that person's off of you at that point. Now you have to figure out what you want to do from there.
Yeah.
So would you say that was your light bulb moment?
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, that was it. And I was like, fuck yeah. Have something. I'm like, and then from there I just built on what else I need to do.
That's awesome. And speaking about techniques, and I know, bring it back to UFC, and I know you like video games a lot. When I think of Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai or martial arts in general, I think of it as like a real life video game. Yeah. And I think of building the techniques as like you're in Skyrim and you got that skill tree.
Oh, yeah.
And then you gain the base knowledge, and then you can add in your flavors, and you get more and more skills.
Yeah.
And for me, personally, I used to love playing video games. Yeah. And recently, I haven't had much time to play video games. Yeah. But I think of Jiu-Jitsu as my real-life video game, where I'm grinding, and I get more experience. Yeah. And then there's, like, raids, which are, like, competitions. There's like boss battles when you go for medals and stuff like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's how I think about it too. Like to be honest, I
so nerdy.
I'm super. Well, he's
I'm a nerd. I get exactly what he's saying. Like me, before jiu-jitsu and everything, I played competitive fighting games. I did that from 2009 till about when the pandemic like ruined everything. I was playing Street Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear, and other games. And in those fighting games, like in fighting games in general, like there's a lot going on. Like it's if you look at a fighting, you're like, oh, okay, just a move. It comes okay. And
there's only like 2 buttons.
There's only like 2 buttons and all that stuff. There's really a lot more to it. Like there's frame data, there's setups, there's combos that you have to practice and master, and then the timing to get down the combos.
Yeah, like on a frame basis.
On a frame basis. And speaking of frames, like there's a GSP video. Okay. Where he's talking about frame data in actual fight. So, of course, this was posted on like a fighting game forum. Look at GSP, he plays fighting games. Not really. What he's taking a concept from fighting games and putting it into real life fighting. So what he's doing is for example, if someone does a right hand, right? What he likes to do is capture it, slow it down, and break it down frame by frame. And the reason why he's doing that is he wants to know how long does it take for that hand to get back to here.
Yeah.
So if it takes, 1.5 seconds, he's like, okay, I have 1.5 seconds to do something or to hit you somewhere or do something. So that is in fighting games, by the way, where certain moves, it takes a certain amount of time to come back and then you have a certain time to respond.
Yes.
And then you do what you're going to do and whatever. So that is, I mean, I think about Jiu-Jitsu and like Muay Thai and all that similarly, actually. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Especially the other thing I picked up on too is adapting. Like, you have to learn how to adapt and, like, okay, this person did this when I did this. So now what's my response for that? And then, like, okay, how do I stop that and then do what I need to do? Right? So, like... Absolutely. A prime example was I rode with Steve, like, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. And he got me that stupid armbar.
Were you on his back and did you put your arm down over his shoulder and then he armbarred you? Yeah, he's good at that.
Really good at that, right? So, man, I was...
for you guys.
Yeah. I know. He got me with that, and I was upset. Cause the other thing is, too, like, when I get in the competitive mindset, I'm a totally different person. Like, I get salty, I get angry. I'm not angry at you. I get angry at myself, and then I'm not in a good mood for a second, and I get back to normal. Like, I mean, if you see me angry, it's like, damn it, like, I'm not mad at you. It's just me. I'm like, what? I always think about what could I have done better, and like, why did
too hard on yourself?
Yeah, I do get hard on myself a lot, like way too hard on myself. People tell me that all the time. I'm like, well, I'm trying to get better. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's common for sure.
Yeah,
the struggle.
Yeah.
The struggle of jiu-jitsu. And that's, I think, what white belt's about, too, is you have to get past that. Like, the ego part of it, where you're just like, oh, I should be better at this. Because everyone goes through it.
Everybody goes through it.
When you join jiu-jitsu, it's like, what is this? Like, why am I turning this way? This is not natural. And then when you can't do it, you're like, why can't I do it? And it's like, you have to constantly keep reminding yourself that this is not natural movement. Like, this is all taught, like, self-taught. And the more you practice, I really like what Danny said yesterday in the self-defense seminar, when she was just like, it's just like eating, or it's just like cooking. It's like riding a bike. It's like driving your car. Everything you do, it just takes practice. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Definitely.
And it sounds so cliche, but that's exactly how jiu-jitsu is. Yeah. You don't go in and you're just good at it.
No, it does. Yeah.
But you think you should be good at it because maybe you had a skilled background in striking, or maybe you had a skilled background in taekwondo or wrestling or things like that, and then you join jiu-jitsu and you're like, this is not right.
This is not right. So you got me that armbar, and I was like, fuck, right? I was like, okay. I was like, Steve, what did you just do, right? Yeah. And he's like, he showed me what he did, and I told him, I was like, you're never gonna catch me in that again. I literally told him, I was like, you're never gonna catch me in that again. So we rolled again. He couldn't get me in it. I rolled with him this week, and he tried it, and then I was like, no. I was like, I told you. I said, you're not going to catch me in this again. He's like, I already saw it. He's like, and that's what I learned from fighting games is like, okay, I can adapt to you. I understand what you're doing. I'm seeing everything you're doing. And I'm like, I'm going to have a counter for this, and then I'm not going to catch everything, but I'm probably going to catch about maybe like, half of what you're doing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a counter for something.
Yeah. That's a great skill to have. And that's good that you're noticing that, because most people don't get to that level until like, blue or purple, really. Yeah. So that's awesome that you can figure out what other people's games are and then be like, I'm going to stop that.
Yeah. Or at least try. Like, because it's hard to remember everything, So it's like, at least with jiu-jitsu, at least I can do it like feel. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like, okay, I'm rolling. Okay, you did this before when you were like this. And I'm like, okay, let me just transition to do this. And then
that's what I was going to say. In jiu-jitsu, a bit of Muay Thai, but specifically in jiu-jitsu, you only have so much like brain space to focus on like one or two priorities in that moment, and you have to build up habitual responses to certain things, because if you have to think about it, it's already too late.
Yeah.
So like you got to defend the major defense, so it's typically either a position advance or a submission, and if you can habitually stop the positional stuff and consciously stop the submission threat, you're going to be way better off than if you just like reacting to one thing and then the other thing just happens with that person. And that's one of the reasons I talk about dilemmas all the time in jiu-jitsu, is because I'm constantly putting people in dilemmas where it's either I'm going to submit you or I'm going to advance position, or I have like 4 submissions right here and you got to pick now.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like pick and choose, man. Which one do you want?
Yeah, but yeah, we really only have so much brain space.
Yeah, we really do.
And yeah, that move that you learned from Steve, like you're very conscious about that now. Yeah. But eventually he's going to learn to use that move, and then you are going to defend the way you are defending, and he's going to change the position.
Exactly.
Now, instead of getting the submission because of the way you're moving. And then you both get better.
And then we both get better. Yeah, it's just a game. Like, it really is. Like, everybody has their style and everything. And that's one thing I love about jiu-jitsu is the freedom of it, right?
Yes.
Like, it's one of the free... Like, granted, I've not done a lot of martial arts. I've only done Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, so I don't have Taekwondo or whatever experience. But from my experience doing this, like, you could just do so much. Like, literally, like, what makes me laugh the most, or it's laugh and at the same time amazed. Like, every time we do something or learn a new technique, when Brenton like just says, okay, if you just do this, and it's literally just the tiniest movement, you laugh because you're like, wow, I'm an idiot. But then it's like, it's amazing because you just realize how much little, like just a tiny bit, like if you just change like an inch. Finesse, it changes the technique a little bit. And it's like, oh my God, I could have been doing that the whole entire time. And it's like, I didn't think about it.
That never goes away.
No, it never does. And I love that. Like, it's constantly growing. It's constantly evolving. I mean, even on YouTube, or, if you're in BJJ Fanatics or something like that, somebody always has a new technique almost every day.
Yeah.
And it just shows the freedom of it. And that's what's beautiful about it. It's free. It's like, oh, man, I can do whatever I want. Like your butterfly thing. or that thing that you show during your ceremony.
Okay,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, like you're like, okay, I do it like this or whatever, and I'm like, holy shit. Like,
it's even crazy too. Like when you think about people like Jeff Glover, who came up with their own guard. It's like you think that everything is out there already, and then Jeff Glover comes up with this thing called donkey guard, and you're like, okay.
You showed me that. I thought it was the goofiest thing ever. I'm like, I probably won't ever do that. But that looks cool. It's fine.
There was one day I did it to 4 people.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Do you really?
I tried to do it to my dad yesterday. He didn't like it. He was like, that's stupid, and it's never gonna work on me. And I'm like, well, I had to at least try.
Yeah.
I think I swept Koi with it. Yes.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. Did you record it?
No.
Damn it. All right. Well.
I did it to Nancy the other day, which Von Tempo was over across the room. He's like, did you just donkey guard Nancy? I'm like, yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donkey guard's so fun.
Yes. But it's just,
I love it.
That's part of the evolving of jiu-jitsu, right? Like, people are just coming up with their own stuff. And, like, the person that my dad went against in IBJJF, Eduardo Telles, like, he also came up with his own guard. Like, it's so crazy that, like, you think that everything
guard,
is out there.
Guard.
Yeah, and people are still going to come up with more.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just
endless.
nuts.
And that's art, also.
That's art, yeah.
That's one of the reasons it's called martial arts. And I think at a surface level, people look at martial arts and they don't really see the art part of it.
Yeah.
But once you train for a bit, you really start to see the different types of strokes that people can put into their style and technique.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's wild, man. Like it's so freeing. It's so refreshing. It's hard to explain. Like it's just I enjoy every minute of it. Like it's just great, man.
It's hard to explain until you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then once you do it, you're like, whoa, okay, now I have to get other people to join my cult.
Yeah.
My pajama cult.
Yeah.
That's so funny, dude. All right.
But that's kind of a good leadway into competition, too. Like, you can explain it to someone until you're blue in the face, but they will never understand until they actually step on competition mats for the first time.
Yeah.
And, like, we talk about competition quite a bit on this podcast because Nick's an active competitor. He's got a big IBJJF competition coming up in about 3 weeks.
Going to pants.
Yeah.
I'm the lightest I've been in my adult life. I weighed 168 today, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, we talk about comp a lot, but we have yet to talk about your comp because it was your first time. Yeah. And let's start off with saying, like, you prepared for it. You were told a lot of preparation of how to get ready, but, like, was it anything like you expected?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was funny because, like, everybody, you know, I think about tempo and, like, I think there was other people asking me, how you feel about your competition? I'm like, dude, I was like this the entire time. I was like, I feel great. Like, I just want to roll. Like, that's
it's going to be a good time.
Like, and that's where, like, all my years of, and granted, there's no comparison between a jiu-jitsu competition and fighting competition, but I've been to a lot of competitions playing fighting games. So, like, to me, I just looked at it as, hey, this is another tournament.
Yep.
Right? Like, I'm going to go in, do what I need to do. And if I win, I win. I don't, I don't. And then from there, if I lose, figure out why and try better on the next one. Yes. So, like, that was just my approach. I wasn't nervous. I can't say I wasn't nervous. I mean, I was just a tiny bit, but I got over it immediately. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to have some fun. Go out there, roll, do my thing, and hope for the best. What I learned from it, I feel like there's, especially, and I don't know if you feel this way in, like, higher belt competition, but, like, at least in white belt, from what I saw in the matches that I saw, or at least the 2 matches that I was in, both guys use close guard a lot. Yeah. They pull guard and do close guard. And I noticed that after those 2 matches, because let's just go over the first match that I had, because I was working, remember that throw I was working on with you that Thursday? Yes. I was like, I'm going to pull this fucking thing off and I'm going to win. Right? So that's the first thing I went for, basically, was the collar grab, throw thing.
The sacrifice throw.
Yeah, sacrifice throw. Now, where I screwed up on that throw was I didn't really turn with my hands. Okay. So, like, I got the angle. I fell the right way. I just didn't really yank him. Whip him all the way. I really didn't whip him. So what happened was I fell, he fell, and then we went to, like, the side and almost fell outside the mat or whatever. Because he like, threw me. I don't know what the hell happened. so then we reset.
Yeah, you're kind of both on your hip, right?
Yeah, well, and then we both reset. And it's funny that I can play this whole thing out in my head, but I've been watching the video. So, like, we both reset, and we go at it again, and the first thing he does is he pulls guard. He puts me in close guard. And I think what happened to him was he's like, I cannot take this guy down. I think he knew he can't take me down.
He's like, this guy's aggressive. He's got some idea what he's doing.
He's got some idea what he's doing. He can't take me. I was like, okay, cool. You want to pull guard? Okay, we can play this game. I was like, that's fine. So he pulled guard, put me in close guard, and held me there for a bit.
Yes.
And when he held me there, I was like, okay, I just need one opportunity. I was trying to find the leg, right? So even when I found the leg, because I knew it, I was like, this is it right here.
Yeah.
One thing I realized is how strong people want to hold close guard.
Yes.
Because I was dude, I was like...
So annoying.
I was like, motherfucker, let go of me. I know this is the leg, dude. Like, just open it up. So it took a long time. I was like, okay, cool, come on. And I finally opened it. But the way I opened the close guard was, I do gamble in my jiu-jitsu. And people know that. I do gamble. So everybody's, they say, hey, why do you extend your arm? The reason why I do that is that I want to see what you do and what's your response to grabbing my arm. I already have in my head the reason why I'm extending my arm.
Yes, you're prepared for it.
I'm prepared for it, so I know, okay, I can go like this and do something different, right?
You're baiting them.
Baiting them, exactly, yes.
He's a masturbator almost.
I'm a masturbator. So, like, I did that, and he went for it, and I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to pass the guard. So now when I did that, if you notice, I stood up, and I turned, and I went into side control, and honestly, I didn't know I had points at that point.
Okay.
I really didn't. I was like, okay, cool, I had side control, I got him here, I was like, I can work my game a little bit. And I went to north-south. And the reason why I go to north-south is I have a nice little Kimura that I was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I did it to Santino like a week ago. So what happened was he got to his side, and I literally locked his head like in a triangle.
Yes.
And I just kept him there, and I held him, and I just...
Worked that arm out?
Yep, that was it.
Yeah.
And I was trying to set that up, and I think we were there for too long because then we got reset. And then when that happened, I look at Nick, because Nick is yelling, right? And I'm like, I go on and I look at Nick, he's like, remember the position! And I was like, all right. So I went, okay. So I tried to remember, and I didn't. I went to I wasn't north-south, but not the way I was originally. Mm-hmm. So then he got out, whatever. And he tried to roll. I smacked his leg away, and I took his back. I overextended when I grabbed his back. And I have a bad habit of doing this when I try to take someone's back. Because I'm conscious of my legs. I had short legs, guys. I can't do nothing about that. Like, it's life. So, like, when it comes to getting a hook in, it's a little harder for me when someone's a turtle. So the reason why I overextend, and if you watch in the video, is I go a little higher so I can get a leg. Yeah. So once I get that leg in, then I come back. And I'm like, okay, granted, that's a gamble because you're going to flip me over. To get rolled. Yep. Yeah. I think the dude was just too tired because I don't think he even thought about flipping me over. Because I was like, okay, cool. Like, I got him back. And then I grabbed his arm. It was a Kimura position. I was like, okay, grabbed a Kimura. And then that was the coolest thing I ever did. I came up with this on the fly, by the way. Like, I've never practiced this before. Instant reaction. Instant reaction. I was like, I'm going to flip him over. I literally said that in my head, I'm going to flip you over, dude, and I'm going to put you in an arm bar. So that's when I flipped him over. And I was kind of shocked and surprised because when I got him there, I was like, oh, fuck. Alright, like, what do I do from here? And I was trying to, like, jiggle his arm out, and then Nick's like, pinch your legs! And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm kind of tired now. And then that's kind of how the match went, and I ended up winning on points. Yeah. Second match, again, and I need to find someone else's video of a different angle, because I felt like that guy watched my first match. Okay. Because the first... Maybe it's possible, because, like, he tried to take me down a little bit, didn't work. Mm-hmm. Then he pulled guard immediately. Mm. And once he pulled guard... Hey, when that happens. Yeah, God. I was like, motherfucker. So he goes and pulls guard, and then he's holding me here. Yes. And it was annoying. It was super, super annoying. And then he had me in close guard, and I was trying to break it, and I was trying to take out his air, because I didn't have much... We don't work close guard a lot. Like, maybe I'm not in a class that does, but, like, when I'm there, we really don't. So... my one go-to is like, okay, I'm going to annoy you by taking your breath away. So sure. Push on the diaphragm. Oh, I'll push on your diaphragm. And dude, I was pushing on this dude's diaphragm. I don't care. I wish I could ask him, like, hey, dude, how much air did you have left? Because I was pushing, and I'm like, get the fuck go. Let it go. And I was trying to do something, and I couldn't. And he just submitted me, and the triangle he got me, and I watched it. It was actually pretty good. It was tight.
It's because you were here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, fuck. And it was tight. If I had a little bit more energy, I would have fought it. I would have fought that to the death. Because when it comes to triangles, I kind of fight them a little bit longer than I need to. Yeah. And I just didn't. I was like, okay, dude, take it. Like, fine. I'll get you on the next time when I see you again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whatever, we're good. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I was mad. As you can, everybody saw, I was like really pissed off. I was like, God, the fuck out of here. I shook his hand. I was like, okay, man, whatever. I wanted to roll with him again. I was like, dude, let's go right now.
Yeah.
Because I will do something different, and I want to see which. Yeah, like my mindset went, okay, what if I got aggressive on him? What if I shot on him? Like, what would he would have done? Because if you watch that match, he didn't. I wasn't taken down. He tried to sweep me, couldn't sweep me.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. Mm-hmm. He tried to take my back, could not take my back. And I was like, and that was me tired. And I was like, okay, so you couldn't do any of that. You just kept me in close guard and then got a triangle. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, what if I change my game plan and I put you in those bad positions? What would you do? Yeah. Right? And I was like, okay, we'll see. I was like, I'll see you on the next one. That's all I can say. Next time on Jiu-Jitsu competition.
But now you've learned too. And now you understand, like when you go out on the competition mats, it is a different type of rolling because you can't like do all your fine, fun techniques. Like it is back to the basics. Yeah. You can't extend your arms because you will get armbarred or triangled. It was cool that you were like thinking in your brain that you needed to get his breath away, but now you now know, like I'm going to have to do it in a different way, which is so when we're training for competition and at Fluid, the thing that we teach of how to break close guard is to make them as uncomfortable as possible. Yeah. And you did that. Yeah. You just did it in a way that got you submitted. That got me submitted. So now you just know that, okay, well, I still need to make him uncomfortable, but it's not going to be with extending my arms. Now it's going to be, I'm going to make his legs hurt. Yep. Like things like that. Yep. And so we don't do those like elbows in the legs at Fluid because it's not nice. But in a competition, you freaking put your elbows in the legs. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Oh my God, I'm going to be so nasty. They want to hold it there. Like you make them pay for holding it there.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's a game we're kind of play. Okay, all right.
Yep.
But then this week, I mean, what I loved about these past 2 weeks in classes, well, at least I think a week ago, we were doing with Jason, and we went through a whole session of breaking the close guard. Mm-hmm. And I was like, thank God. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. I have 2 other things now that I can do now outside of what I was doing before. And I was like, okay, fine.
It's hard. Close guard is very difficult. Legs are super strong. And, like, I know that for females especially, because that is the strongest part of our bodies, so girls tend to revert to their close guard quite a bit. And I remember even yesterday in open mat, I was stuck in someone's close guard for probably about a minute and a half. And I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, this sucks. Like, I cannot get out of this. But at the same time, I was like, but she's not scoring any points on me. And I'm not getting anything, but she's also not getting anything. And I was talking to my dad about it because I was trying to, like, analyze, like, I can't get out of this person's close guard. Like, it was really frustrating. Yeah. And he told me, because I had said, I was like, well, she wasn't scoring points on me, though. And I had that, like, that made me feel a little bit better. Sure. He was like, you know what you should do? Tell them, hey, you should score some points. And then you do that. When you do that, they open up their guard. And then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
So I think I might do that, honestly. If I'm in a competition and someone's holding their close guard on me, I think I'm just going to be like, you're not scoring any points.
Right,
and then they're going to be like, oh, you're right. And then they're going to open, I'm going to pass, and then I'm going to submit them.
Just stand up, bro. That's what I do.
And then
I did, but it didn't work.
And I was supposed to do no-gi that day, and I didn't do no-gi. My parents were there, and, well, they were there for a long time. That was the other thing, like,
it's a long day.
Dude, it's a long day. I was like, I thought I was going to roll out like at 2. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to have a nice day. Because my parents.
Pushed.
Yeah. Like my parents came. We already had plans because we were going to meet my girlfriend's family for the first time.
Oh.
At their restaurant. And.
Fun?
Yeah, fun. And they're like, okay, yeah, I think you're still going to do this, but we're going to leave. I'm like, oh, great. And I was like, okay, so then I'll just drop from no-gi. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's fine. Let's go. I wanted to hang out with my family and then have them meet my girlfriend's parents and all that stuff. I was like.
That's important.
Yeah, I do like. I wanted to see what I wanted to do in no-gi because I do like no-gi more than gi.
Sure.
Because, like, with gi, and I think I was talking about this with Adam sometimes, like the tall Adam.
Yeah. Skyscraper Adam.
Yeah, Skyscraper Adam. Dude, that guy is just.
He's a monster.
He's not normal. He's not normal. But like he was even saying, he's like, I feel like it's not. I hate to use this word, but kind of scrubby. Because it's like, there are times where someone that doesn't know anything will literally grab something.
And just hold it.
And just hold it. And it's like, what the hell are we doing? And then we kind of don't move. And then you got to figure out what to do from there. Mm-hmm. The reason why I hate it is because I feel like they can't do that. If we weren't wearing a gi, I feel like the person I'm rolling with, and that's not everybody. It's like certain people. I'm like, you can't do this to me. Yeah. And it's going to be and I can do whatever I want to do from here. Because I'm a little, I'm kind of strong and whatever. And I know I can use my strength in certain areas. To do certain things, and I'm like,
side control.
Yeah, side control. I'm like, okay, I know you're not gonna get out of this. Mm-hmm. And then takedowns too. Like, I don't feel like people can take me down if I don't have a gi on.
Sure.
Like, I feel like I can take them down, but I don't feel like, because people have tried and they're like, no. I'm like, no. It's not gonna happen, dude. Like, I'm gonna, and we're gonna go to the ground. Outside of like Bon Tempo, you people that are like amazing, like they can get me, but like there's certain like you can't get me, and I want to see what I can do, but that'll be next time. I'll be the next.
Yes, next time.
Sure. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
One more thing about the closed guard too is just because we were talking about how most people do it in competition, and I've never really understood why people want to hold it there. Like, I get in a self-defense position, that's definitely a good place to be if you're trying to, like, think about where you need to move next to, or keep them at bay from punching you, or keeping them at bay from, God forbid, like, sexually assaulting you and things like that. Sure. Like, I get that that's a good position, but in a competition, I don't understand why people just hold it. Like, I don't get what they're trying to do. Like, I understand it's a stalling position to move, but when you're literally holding it, it does not make sense to me. But I know that most people do it. So, when I was training with Karen yesterday, and Karen Barron is getting ready for her first competition in May. Nice. Yeah, and I'm really excited. So, I've been trying to, like, amp it up on her and take it out, like, just go really, really rough with her so that she can understand. And yesterday, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to hold her in close guard. So I did. And I just held her there for like 2 minutes, and I let her work, and I could tell she was getting mad, and I could tell she was getting tired. And even I was getting tired. Like, I was holding that close guard. Your legs are starting to burn after like 2 minutes. And I was just like, this is not fun. No. But I was like, I'm going to keep her here so she can understand what this is like. But like, I never want to do this. I never want to be the person holding someone in my close guard, because I'm not getting anything done. They're not getting anything done. Neither of us are scoring points right now. My legs are going to be dead for the next match if I had to do it. Like, it was just, it was not a fun position. I don't understand. It's boring. I think it's honestly boring. And I honestly think it's just something that they teach or tell them to do, because it's just something that you can just, how can I say it? It's like going back home, like going to your mama. Yeah, or it's kind of like Robbie's call it. Or like in gaming, meta, right? Like, it's like, okay, if you do this, you have a high opportunity. You have a higher chance of doing whatever. I just think that's what it is. Me, it's too boring. I mean, that match was 0-0 that I lost in. I'm like, if we went to time, we were gonna go for another minute, guy. Like, it was like, what are we doing? So, like, to me, it's boring, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I respect it. I understand it. I would understand if he was, like, doing some cool shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, he's got me in close guard, and all of a sudden he does, like, some fucking, I don't know, or something, or whatever. I don't know. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but it wasn't cool. I was like, okay, whatever. Close guard sets up the traditional trap of armbar, triangle, omoplata. Okay. And it also sets up, if those don't work, like the flower sweep, the pendulum sweep, up and over sweep, and... That's about it. But notice everything that he just said. You have to open your guard to do them. You can't do that. I mean, there's like very few things you can do from closed guard, and they're not my specialties, so I just don't like it. Right, and they're not mine either. I mean, I'll hold it a few times, but I won't hold it more than like 10 seconds. Right, and it's a stalling position. Yeah. Maybe catch your breath for 5 seconds, or maybe you're just trying to transition to a sweep. Right. But like, don't freaking hold it for 2 minutes, man. Yeah. Well, the thing is, in order to do anything effectively in closed guard, you got to break their posture down. And the people in closed guard always know, I got to get my posture back up. So it's just a grind. Yeah. And it's really annoying. It's annoying. It's just annoying. And it's like, whatever, dude. That's all. And honestly, I've been thinking about that for the past like 3 or 4 weeks. Like, I've been obsessing over it. Closed guard every day. Yeah. Oh, just do it. I'm like, I tell people, just do it, man, because I need to break it. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to be upset at you because you're my training partner. It's like, but if I'm competing against somebody, that's the other thing, too. So I should look up the amount of time he held me there. Granted, I know we were moving, but like, I'm surprised he didn't get called for stalling or something. But maybe it's because he was holding my arm or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Because Garrick's opponent got called for stalling. Or no, Garrick got called for stalling for holding close guard. And I was like... He told me that story, and I was like, excuse me? I was like, this dude held me here for 2 minutes. I was like, what the... Whatever. Yeah. That's life. It's dumb. It's different. But even when you said breaking down the posture, like I remember yesterday with Karen, because I do know when you're holding someone in close guard, you have to break down their posture. And that's why she was getting tired, because she's also trying to posture up and break it. It's just like a back and forth, like, But it also hurt my arms. It's like, I don't want to be holding this woman down with my arms and my legs. Like, this is ridiculous now. Yeah. I felt like I was like taming like a 2-year-old tantrum or something. And I was like, this is not jujitsu. No. I think you felt it when you've been in my closed guard. You work the closed guard up. Yeah. And you bring it up underneath their shoulders. And then you can like start to dead orchard them and really get their arms extended. Yeah. Like that's a number one goal for me when I'm using closed guard. But once again, I can take
I just use it to annoy the fuck out of people and then sweep them when they try to overextend themselves.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, close guard it's an interesting position, and when we are training for competition, we try to work on that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So next competition that you do, make sure you try to make it to a Friday. I know you only train a couple days a week, but like if you can, try to make it to a Friday, because those are the days that we work our stand up. Those are the days that we do competition rolls. Like, I would try to do that, and it's question answer on Fridays. So if you're caught in something and you don't know it, you would just ask in the question answer, and he'll answer it specifically to you. He won't give him his best answer like on what he does. He'll say like, this is what you need to do because I'm seeing this is what you're not doing.
Gotcha.
Like he'll literally make you go in front of everyone and be like, show me what you do, and then you'll mess it up, and he'll be like, stop right there.
That's good.
This is where you're doing it wrong.
That's good.
So it's cool.
Good. It's one of my favorite classes.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I say that about every class. So.
Yeah, man, dude. Speaking of classes, man, we talked about it earlier. Like Tuesday night was my favorite. Man,
I know.
That was my favorite.
I know. Ours too.
Class.
Now I get kicked out every Tuesday at 7.
Now we get kicked out, man. I mean, it's just
sucks for you guys.
Yeah.
I told her I identify as a woman. I can go swim.
Stop it. We do not make this podcast political at all. No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
That's so funny, dude.
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, it was cool. I would definitely do another one, but I'm debating right now if I want to get smaller or stay at 185. I didn't feel too uncomfortable at 185. I felt kind of good. I just
stay there then.
Yeah, I would. It's just I'm debating that right now, and definitely how often I need to train, because it's like the one thing. I mean, I get exhausted. Like my cardio's whatever. You know, I got to run more and all that stuff, which I do.
With that.
Yeah.
I think what kills me is like not getting as many rolls as I should, and definitely at a high intensity and like competition rolls. You know what I'm saying? Because like, hey, I can roll. Okay, cool. But we're not really.
He'll scramble with you whenever.
Yeah, Nick will. Like, yeah, for sure.
I typically roll pretty hard,
too. You do, too, yeah.
Like, I don't really go flow very often. Yeah. Like, I'm always like, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, you are. Definitely. Awesome. She's like the best. She's like, we're going. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm sweating. I'm like, stay inside. Come on. No.
Because I like that high intensity.
I do, too. I like the high intensity. And granted, I mean, I tone down the strength, but I move a little bit more. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I think I need to do a lot more with more time. I definitely want to roll at 5 minutes, and probably I'm gonna start off at like, okay, maybe 2 rolls today at 5 minutes, go at it, done, and then maybe in 2 weeks up it to 3, and then up it to 4, and then like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then that way I get used to it, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think that will help out my cardio a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I can last a little bit longer and hopefully get somebody in a submission. I don't have to roll for 5 minutes. Like this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just beat them faster. I think that's what I need to figure out. I was like, okay, how do I do this faster?
I think one thing that helps, or definitely helped me when I was a white belt, is I never took breaks rolling. And like, yeah, you get tired as shit, especially after a few rounds in a row. But when you're tired as shit is when your jiu-jitsu really shines. Okay. And you can use technique and learn to use that even if you're fucking dead.
Yeah. And that's why your Shark Tanks are 45 minutes. Because when you're in a fight with someone, like if you were actually getting beat to a pulp in the streets, like
in the streets.
But like at 30 minutes, like you're not going to be able to use your strength anymore. You're not going to be able to rely on that. Like I was dead after 2 minutes in a closed guard. So like I can't even imagine having to use all of your power the entire time. So by 45 minutes, you should be just using your technique. You should be just using those finesse details in order to get out of bad positions. And so that's kind of where competition comes in. Unfortunately, you're kind of going in fresh most of the time. Yeah. And they're only 5-minute rounds, which seems like forever, but at the same time, it's not. So it's just, and most people use those 5 minutes to just be a brute.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Dude, I've been there.
Yeah.
That shit sucks.
Yeah,
I've always said I don't feel bad to not be a white belt male. Like, I never, ever was jealous of you being a white belt male.
Yeah, thanks.
You guys just go so hard.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to watch a white belt female match versus a white belt male match, they are just so different.
Really
and,
are.
like, the girls, they definitely do roll hard. Like, I'm not saying that they don't roll like a brute, but they are not like a male. Like, you guys are just head on, like, let me try to murder you, where we're just like, okay, who's going to win this? Like, let's go.
Yeah, and I started competing in the 185-pound division. That's when I was a white belt. That's what I was at.
Okay.
and there's some big motherfuckers.
Oh, they're strong. Like I mean, but I felt like I was on par, like strength wise. I didn't feel like I was like less stronger than they were. It was just more like, I didn't expect them to just pull guard and hold me there.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was like I was expecting like, okay, man, we're gonna go. Like, okay, I'm gonna pass your guard. Yeah. Nah. You're gonna hold me there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and 185-pound people are typically a little taller. You and I are a little shorter.
Yeah.
So they got longer legs, which means their close guard is longer. It's fucking harder.
185 pounds. How many pounds of those do you think are legs? 80? Maybe more?
More.
The torso is probably
100 pounds?
probably the biggest part of your body, right?
Yeah.
And then like eat 2 legs. They're probably like 50 pounds each.
Dude, I'm like 60% leg.
Yeah. So
oh my god.
So just think about that. Like that's literally like 120 pounds of just leg holding you down. Like that's insane.
It's insane.
When you think about it that way.
It really is.
Like that's almost my weight.
Yeah. It's like a whole Britney. It's like, hey, that's one leg. No.
It's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane to think about, man. It's like, man, like, but it was cool. You know, and then I gotta say, like, the first 5 minutes, it felt like the longest 5 minutes of my life. Like, it was, especially that last, like, 10 seconds where Brittany's yelling, "You got it! Hold him there!" And I was like, all right. And I'm like, 'cause I had him in half guard and a little Kimura. And I was trying to flip his ass over, but it wasn't happening. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna triangle lock your leg. I did it. I let go for a second, then did it. Got him again, and I was like turning his arm up. I wish I had 5 more seconds.
Yeah.
Because if I had 5 more seconds, that arm was mine. And I'm like, dude, you're going to tap. But I didn't. And the match was over. I was like, okay.
I'm glad you could hear me.
Yeah, I heard you. I was like, oh. That's where, like I mentioned earlier, like, I didn't realize I had scored points.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I was like, more like, okay, cool. I didn't realize I was up by that much. Yeah. Or 3 points.
And that's why I was telling you, remember the position. So that you could score more points and, you know, give yourself more of a lead. So you could be more comfortable trying Kimura sweeps and opening up your legs and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah, and that was great advice. I just didn't catch on to it at that point. I was like, what?
That's where you have to really start playing the sport of jiu-jitsu too. Like it's not even just like trying to work your technique. It's like, okay, I have 10 seconds left and I'm up by this many points. If he sweeps me, he wins. So I'm gonna freaking hold him here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that's where the sport really comes in, and it sucks. And like I hate that it kind of goes that way, but at the same time, like you're trying to win.
Yeah. By the way, you did say that at the end of the video.
Yeah.
It was like you play the sport at that point, and I was like, I heard you say that. And I was like, okay, I did the right thing.
Yep.
That is what it is.
And like, I don't think you should play the sport the entire time you're competing. I think it really matters the most in that last 30 seconds. Like,
you gotta find your balance.
Who's up?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I remember one time I was competing and I did not know I had any points really. Like, I was moving around and I was doing a whole bunch of stuff and I wasn't paying attention to the scoreboard at all. And then it was the end of the match and I looked up at the scoreboard and I was up like 32-6 or something. And I was
Jesus.
Like,
how many times you passed your guard?
Right. I was like, what did I do in this match? And I looked around and I had to rewatch the video like, holy crap. Like, I didn't know that I did that.
That's hilarious. Dude.
One of my favorite things in competition is I'll be competing and Brent will randomly be like, are you going to win by points or are you going to submit them? And I'm like, oh, shit.
Okay, I got to do something here. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to be a long conversation on the ride home.
Yep. No. And, like, I also played this sport. So, do you remember when I hurt my chest? When I injured my chest really bad? So, that was because I was put into a bow and arrow choke, and I heard my chest pop, like, while I was being stretched backwards. But I looked at the timer. I had 15 seconds left on the timer, and I was winning by, like, 3 points. Okay. And I was just like, I am in such a shitty position right now. I want to tap so bad because my chest just popped. I think I'm out. Like, I think I'm done. But I was like, but I'm winning. And I looked at that timer and I remember looking my dad directly in the eyes in the coach's chair while I was getting like snapped in half. And he was just like, you need to turn into her. And I was just holding, like trying to keep my neck from being choked. And I was like,
she was like,
yeah, I just shook my head. I was like, I can't.
I remember that.
I can't. And he was just like, okay. And then the timer won and I still won and I walked away and I was like, I'm done. I can't do anymore. I'm out. But I won that match and I won gold.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. That's cool.
And that was playing the sport.
That's playing the sport. Yeah. So, I mean, you got a point lead. Like, just do what you got to do.
If I was down on points on that match, I would have tapped. Like, I would have been done.
Oh, you'd be like, okay, what's the point at that point? Yeah,
and then I was like, okay, I'm out for 6 months. I really hope that gold medal was worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, I mean,
Because now I can say I'm still gold.
yeah, you have a gold medal. That's awesome. Hopefully one day I'll get like bronze or something or silver. Maybe a gold at some point.
One day. And
I'll be like,
when
I made it. I'm gonna retire now. All right, I'm out.
When are you thinking about competing again?
I want to do May. Oh man, I can't do. Oh man, I've been eating bad lately.
What did you say?
I said I'm gonna compete in like 3 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Me, either May or it's gonna be winter.
Okay.
Fall, winter, or
yeah.
fall or winter this year.
Sure.
It just depends. I mean, I got some stuff coming up with family and all that in May. We don't know what's going on yet, so it's like, okay, cool. If I have to do that, then I won't compete. Then I'll just push it back to September,
right?
Whatever, around there.
Yeah.
At least then, because what I want to do, like I was mentioning, so I want to roll a lot more at a certain time limit, and then like increase my
cardio, stamina.
So I want to give myself enough time. Like, okay, listen, competition's in October or whatever. From June to September, you're gonna do this, and that. And then you're gonna get yourself ready, and then you're gonna be a badass when you get that in October, whatever it is. So I want to do it that way that time instead of like, okay, I'm thinking about doing it in 2 months. Okay, January, I whatever submitted it, and I was like, okay, I had a month, and then I had 3 weeks to kill 15 pounds.
Yeah, that's a challenge in itself.
It's a challenge within itself. And by the way, I was like. I was surprised that I was able to kill that much weight. Like
that's awesome, man.
That fast. I was like, damn. I was like, all right, cool, dude. But I put on that weight like it's nothing. So
yeah. So much easier to put on weight.
Yeah, than to lose it. Yeah, it was just miserable. And I was like, okay. So that's the plan. So we'll see what happens. I definitely want to do it again, but I won't be as consistent. Like like Nick is. You're killing it. Like you got it. You got your goal, and you're just trying to whatever. Me, it's like. Okay, every so often I'll do one, see where I'm at. Because I do want to test where I'm at as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, because it's like, yeah, I go to the gym and it's like, I'm rolling with my training partners, and I kind of get I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm here. I think I'm all right. But I feel like I'm going to really understand where I'm at if I'm competing. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, I think I'm here. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, because it's hard to gauge when you're just rolling with training partners. It really is. Yeah, sometimes
And your training partners, like as much as they say they can go 100% with you, and maybe they do, it's just not the same because you have that bonding with each other that you're you're not trying to kill each other.
And I'm not gonna grab your arm and break it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes.
In tournament, I'm going to.
I'm going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, your last competition, dude, I swear to God. I saw that when you took that dude's back, I literally yelled out, "Rip his arm off!" I was like, holy shit. I
was going to.
Oh my God. I'm like, I know not to piss off Nick.
Garrick was so funny with that because he apparently had texted Michael and he goes, Nick takes it easy on us. You don't even know. You thought he took it easy on us before. You did not see what I just witnessed.
Yeah. I always knew there was that side to Nick, and I was like, because I've seen some of your competition videos, and I'm like, okay, Nick has two personalities.
I do.
Because honestly, man, you're the nicest, most positive person I've ever met, and that's a compliment. I've never met anybody like that, dude, ever in my life, and I'm like, dude, Nick is the nicest, calmest person ever. But I guarantee you, there's a side to him that's just, I'm gonna kick your ass or whatever, and he's just mean and just aggressive. It's there. It's just, he'll show up when he needs to.
I like to call it, for competition, I have an internal switch that I flip that I'm able to put into kill or be killed mode.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a good thing to have. And you have it in check where it's when to be that way and you know when not to be that way.
Yes.
Because that's always the hard part too. It's when you're rolling or practicing, some people just I'm in that, I'm there now. And it's no. You can be a nice guy. Let's learn whatever. But you do a really good job of that. That's amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Speaking of you planning out a few months before your competition that you have a plan of accountability that you'd like to stick to, and the mental switch that I'm able to turn on and off. Yeah. Through the Gentle Art Lifestyle brand and my Odyssey with my coaching, I have a mental or just competition prep accountability program that is releasing soon. It's gonna be a 3-month, a 2-month, or a 1-month program to help people get ready for their first competition, or if they have a lot of nerves for competition or any reservations, just to get people ready to be able to compete, because it's not easy for a lot of people to get out there and to compete. And you want to be in the best headspace you can to compete. Everybody trains a lot and competes a lot. But if you can get that little edge of mental preparedness for a competition, you're going to execute way better than if you just go in there and rely on your brute strength or the training that you've done.
Yeah, there's two aspects to competing. It's mental and it's physical. It's really both. And I think the more and more I've competed in my life and the more I've thought about all my competitions that I've done, I think the mental part of it is the most important. Yeah. Because that's the first thing that'll beat you. I'm serious. Like when you're down on yourself and when you're whatever, you're gonna perform the worst. And I've done that a lot. Like before I got to Jiu-Jitsu, when I was doing fighting game competitions, I'd always put myself like, okay, yeah, I think I'm ready. But then the minute I get there, my mind just goes, I'm gonna fucking lose.
And then you're beat before you even
do it. And it's like, because here's the thing, like I would go into a tournament, like how it works in fighting games is like it's double elim. So winners, losers bracket. So you go to winners, you lose in winners, you go to losers, and then you're out. After the tournament was over, I would go and play the same dude, and I would bust his ass in like 15 games. The score would be like 13-2 sometimes. Or like, and I'm like, why can't I fucking beat you in 2 out of 3? You know what I mean? I'm beating you here in a longer set. And then I never really caught on to that until I started doing jiu-jitsu, where there were times where like, even in training, I'm like, damn, dude, this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then I'm like, dude, why are you telling yourself that? Like, just keep doing it. Like, just, you're all right. And it took me a year, like, literally, to deprogram myself, to get out of that mindset, and to get in the mindset, dude, you're here to train, and you're here to get better. And, like, just keep going and keep doing it. And then, like, I was starting to hit that stride before the pandemic hit. Yeah, because there was a point. There was one class, right, where Laura, is that her name, Laura? Mm-hmm. She was like, "Andy, dude, your hips are like moving and blah blah." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "I'm starting to understand this." And then we lost that 2 months. Mm-hmm. And then you know we had our couple of classes with Rob, and then you know whatever happened, I don't know. And then I think August of this year, I finally hit that. Or last year, last year, whatever. So like, I started hitting that stride again, where I'm like, I'm starting to feel myself, I'm getting better, and now my mind is going to a different spot with like learning different things, and like, okay, whatever, like I'm starting to see certain things. So like, but it's a lot, dude. That's a lot of training, and it almost happened to me at the end of this year. Like, I was like, okay, so we all here. I'll just show you. I have 2 stripes, guys. Okay, so. Woo!
He remembered his belt, though.
Yeah, I remember my belt. And I have 2 stripes. So, like...
He's got more than me.
Yeah. That's funny. But, like, I didn't get my second stripe till September of 2020. So, 2021, right? Like, I'm like, okay, I should be getting my 3rd stripe at some point. I'm like, okay. And then I get towards the end of the year. I'm like, I think I'm going to get it. I didn't get it. And I was like... Like, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I was like, okay, then I got defeated at some point. Sure. And I was like, okay, if I didn't get it, that means I'm not doing something right, or I'm not progressing. I'm like, should I keep doing this? Like, if I'm not progressing, I'm not getting a 3rd stripe. I mean, it's been a whole year. It's like, damn, dude, it's kind of embarrassing. And I'm like, okay, I've literally thought in my head, I was like, okay, I think I should just quit. And I was like, nah. It took me like an hour. Like, 'cause I was like debating, like, dude, do I want to do this? Like, 'cause I really want that 3rd stripe. I really do want to, like, evolve, you know what I mean? I want to get the blue. Yep. You know, if life permits, maybe someday a black belt at some point. Yeah. You know, life happens, right? You're gonna have kids or whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah. Because I do love the sport a lot, and I do want to grow and like progress. You know what I mean? Then if you're not, at least in my head, it's like, hey, if I'm not progressing, then why am I doing this? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to stay stagnant. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a white. Nah.
Can I ask you something?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So. Okay, you went out there and you did your first competition and you were able to analyze and break down everything that happened, right? Yeah. You won one, you lost one. Shit happens, right? Shit happens, yep. So you've been there and you've been doing it for a while and you love doing it. You've already been able to tell, like, when Steve does things to me, I can stop it. I can personally tell that when I roll with you, you've gotten a lot better. Yeah. And it's very hard for me to do things to you now. And I guess my question for you is... Why do you think in your head do you need a stripe to validate your jiu-jitsu?
Good question. Like, I don't know. At that, like, now I don't care as much. But at that point, I just felt like it was like, it's like, how can I put it? It's like, I guess validation. I don't know what it is. It's like, it's more like, you know, when you're, how can I explain? It's just validation, I think. It's just, I feel like it's something like, okay, listen, you achieved something. And it's like, you're growing. And it's like, I feel like it's proof that, hey, I'm growing. And I shouldn't have been looking at it like that. I should have been looking at it as, okay, what am I doing? Like, when I'm actually rolling, like, pay attention to what you're doing. And, like, if you're doing it really well, this really doesn't matter.
That's right.
And it's I didn't learn that till, like I said, beginning of this year.
Yes.
Like, and I'm like, okay, like, don't be so mad that you didn't get a stripe, dude. Like, you're doing well. Like, you're making people's, like, you're frustrating people with what you're doing. You're evolving.
Yep.
This doesn't matter.
Nope.
So it was just more like a validation for me. Like, okay, it's proof. Hey, I got this.
Yeah.
Did you know they used to not even do stripes once upon a time? It was just...
No, I didn't know that. Yeah, I really didn't know that. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool.
Like, stripes were invented because Americans need that validation. And I don't know why they need that validation, because honestly, I feel the same way. Like, we all feel the same way. Like, when you don't get a stripe for a while, you're just like, oh, what am I doing wrong? But then you have to really take a step back, and you're like, oh, like, what am I doing right?
Yes.
And think about that.
Yes, and I had to tell myself that constantly. It's like, what am I doing right? And it's like, okay, cool. Just keep going. Like, just keep going, man. Like, don't, like, again, it's like I was talking about, mental versus physical. Like, this will beat you first.
Yes.
And it's 100% the truth. If anybody tells you that, it's the truth. Like,
it almost took you out of the whole game.
It almost took me out of the, like, doing what I like to do, because I'm sitting here, like, being a baby, like, oh, man, I didn't get a third strike. Nah, man, like, dude, like, you know, you're good, you're doing what you're doing, you know, you stepped up, did one competition, you know, you didn't procrastinate, did it. And whatever, man. Just keep going, keep rolling. Like, hey, keep rolling. There you go.
Yeah, just keep rolling.
Just keep rolling. You know, at some point, you know, you'll get to wherever goals that you want to achieve and all that stuff. But just whatever. And then I was talking to Santino like a week ago, because they were talking about stripes and all that stuff. And it's like, I told my whole story. Like, I didn't get one.
I love Santino.
Love him too, dude. He's evolved a lot.
I rolled with him Saturday. He got way better since last time.
He got way better, and like, I mean, he's smaller than me, so I can like do certain things to him, or whatever. And now he's taking my back a lot more, and he showed me this gable grip thing, and I'm like, that's how you're doing it. I was like, okay, now I know where your hand is not supposed to be. So like, and he's been taking my back a lot with that, and I can't. Well, when you're, you know, your eyes are this way and your back is that way, you can't see what's going on behind you, so you can't really tell what's going on. So I'm like, how the fuck is he rolling me this way and taking my back? And that's where he showed me the gable grip thing. And I was like, oh, I'm use that now, because my back takes suck. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't like my back takes. I think they're just meh. But that's something I'm gonna incorporate and try. But no, we were talking, and it's like, he's like, dude, because Brent was like, I'll take our 2-stripe white belts against any blue belt any day.
Yeah.
And when Santino said that, I was like, okay, that's badass.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool. I was like, all right, like, I guess I got to think about it that way. Like, and it brought me back to full circle, because September, October that year, there were some people that came in and trained with us on a Wednesday in the afternoon. By the way, Wednesday afternoons are great. I love them. I just, you know, I'm on a lunch break. I go roll, go back to work. It's awesome.
Yes.
There was 2 blue belts that were there, and I was going like tit for tat with them. And I was like, I was like, all right, so I'm not.
This actually makes sense.
It makes sense. I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, yeah, you're right about that. So
he says the same thing about his purple belts, where he says, he's like, I think my purple belts could go against a Brazilian black belt.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I told Nick that. Actually, after the competition, when he said that, because when I see Nick roll, I'm like, dude, you ain't a purple belt. not that you're beneath. It's like, you're not. I could just tell with certain people that they're special. Like, I just look at them. I'm like, Nick, you ain't a purple belt. I was like, I wouldn't be. I don't think anybody would be against, like, hey, I'm just gonna give you a brown belt today. I really don't, like, because I really think Nick is that good. Like, I look at him, I'm like, because he went against, who was that guy, brown or black belt?
Brown.
In gi, it was a purple belt. In no gi, it was a brown belt.
The brown belt, exactly. So I'm like, you're doing it to a brown belt. I'm like, I think they made a mistake. I was like, I think you should be a brown belt and then like continue from there. Because I think you're at that level. I could just tell by looking at certain people, like, yeah, dude. Like, but we'll see. I mean, you can't just do that, right? Because you know,
right.
you have to level up, right? Like, you have to go the traditional route. And
well, okay. There, you know? So what's that saying that we always talk about? Like, we would rather be a fantastic, like a 2-stripe white belt. I would rather be a fantastic white belt.
And
that by the time that you, yeah, thank you. How do you word that though? Like, you say, like, once you get to white or once you get to blue, like, wouldn't you rather have all of that defensive game and everything and be able to, like, show off everything that you've learned rather than just getting beaten the snot out of by other blue belts?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it.
Like, if you can go, what did you say, tit for tat with other blue belts, like, oh, cool.
It's cool. It's like, damn, I'm like, okay, so I am doing something right. You know what I mean?
Like, I roll with other blue belts too, and I do quite well.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, that's cool. So for me, like, going forward, that's gonna be my validation. Like, it's not gonna be this anymore. This is just like, this is just on my waist. Yeah. Like, not that it doesn't matter, but like, my validation is gonna be how well did I do against that person, and if I did well, hey, you're doing something right. If I did wrong, figure it out, come back, and do it better. And just progress from there and just don't worry about it, man. And,
my way to think about validation is, like, are you better than you were yesterday? Yeah. That's, like, number one thing that I look at. Number two, I'd always rather be underestimated than overestimated. Yeah. So, like, if I were a brown belt or a black belt or something, people could expect more from me. And right now I have no expectations that at that level. Sure. I have expectations of a purple belt, which I think I meet at least. Yeah, but absolutely. Even then, it's all about, like, am I better than I was yesterday? Yeah. And belts, stripes, they come and go. Yeah. Eventually, if you keep training, you'll be a black belt no matter what you do. So
you'll be a black belt longer than any other belt. Which is crazy when you think about it that way.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, how many years you got to put in, and well, I remember Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan, I don't know if you know, he's a black belt. Yeah. And he even talks about it sometimes. He's like, there's sometimes I go in and there's just white belts that just whoop my ass. He says it, but the thing with Joe Rogan is like, okay, I don't train all the time, but he's like, but he's explaining, like, that's how crazy Jujitsu is. Like, if you're putting in the time and the effort, it really doesn't matter. Like, I can go in and just lose tomorrow to a white belt. Like, oh, damn. Like, and then you're looking, I got a black belt. Like, wow.
Anyway. Yeah, but it's just ties our gi together, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just ties your gi together.
Yeah. So we are running a little low on time, but I just wanted to ask you, because I thought it was kind of interesting, because I am not a nerd, so I don't think about video games, but you guys do. So, like, when you were competing, were you thinking about it as, like, you were in one of your competitions in a video game?
100%. Yeah. 100%. Like, and the thing about a fighting game tournament is like, here's the big difference. Like, okay, so if you ever get a chance, watch a fighting game tournament, because what it is it's a monitor console. Right. You got two players playing right here, and you got your buddies right behind you, and you got the enemy's buddies right behind you. Yeah. You don't have headphones. I mean, they provide them to you. You can wear them to knock out the noise, but you're still going to hear people yelling. You're going to hear people, hey, punish this, do that. Hey, you ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. That guy sucks. I mean, all kinds of shit talking. And I mean, because I've been through that so much, like, the crowd noise, like, dude, I can tune all that. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. It's like, it's really the same thing. Actually, I felt more pressure in a fighting game tournament than I did in the jiu-jitsu competition, because, like, there's nobody around me. Yeah. Like, there's people at a distance. I can hear you, but you're not right behind me yelling at me while I'm trying to execute a 15-hit combo. Like, you know what I'm saying? And trying to get the timing down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and I play on an arcade stick. So, like, I'm old school, so I have a joystick and I have buttons and all that stuff. And I'm even doing a combo right now. But yeah, exactly. I'm doing it right now. So, like, that helped me prepare for it a lot. Like, just, so I'm just not, I'm really not afraid of it. Like, it's, I don't get that stage. I do and I don't. It's like, okay, it's just a normal day for me. It's like, okay. Yeah. Even one of the funniest things I like to do is, especially in that competition, like, I want him to look at me in the eye, because what I do is I'll smile at you. Yeah. And what I was trying to do was, when I turned to him, I looked at him and I smiled. Yeah. Because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have some fun. Like, you know what I mean? Yes. He didn't look at me or anything like that. I was trying to do something to get under his skin. And it didn't happen. I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I was just having a good time. Like, and it has prepared me. I mean, that it really did. That's not good to say you should do that. I mean, but if you're comfortable with going to competitions, like, it's like any other day. And it's like win or lose, like hey, just have fun.
Yeah, that's a great outlook on it.
Absolutely, just have fun, and of course I'm gonna be salty because that's just me naturally. I can't help that, man. I've tried. I know people are like, "Man, you're a dick." I'm like, I'm not being a dick. I'm just mad. Like,
I'm mad at me.
Let me be mad.
Let me be mad, man. Like, I'm not mad at you. I always have to tell people that after I lose some too, like, because it's a bad thing. I should stop. Like, I should really be like, okay, don't like maybe be mad. Go to the bathroom or something and be mad there. Like, don't do it in front of the person. Like, because there's a couple of times where I play people online and I'll say some shit. And they'll be like, dude, are you alright? And I'm like, no, dude, I'm fine. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. Like, I'm salty at me. Like, because I feel like I should have done better. Like, I'm not saying you suck. I'm just thinking about what I could have done better to win because I want to win.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's what we want to do as humans. Win.
But I think you have a great outlook on it. And I think that as long as you stick to it and don't quit because you don't have a third stripe. Like, I think
and I won't, and then, I was supposed to do, the kickboxing, right? And that didn't happen for 2 reasons, and I'll just get it. It was really 3. Thursday, we did an 8-minute Shark Tank.
I wasn't here for that.
You weren't there for that one. Okay, so I didn't do well. I'll just say it like this. I recovered, and I did okay.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, okay, dude, what am I going to do here? Because it's like, if I don't feel good here, I'm not going to do it. So I kept trying to talk myself into it. Okay, I'm going to do it. I talked to my girlfriend 2 times, and she said, you go ahead and do it. Okay, whatever. Even though I know that's not the real answer. I know that's not the real answer. So Monday comes along, I get an email from work and saying, hey, listen, you got to come to the office and to meet the team and all that stuff. So my fight's on Friday. I'm going to a brand new job Monday, and I bring in my girlfriend for the 3rd time. I said, listen, all right, I'm fighting on Friday. Do you think this is a good idea for me? And then I already had reservations because of the way I fought Thursday.
In the Shark Tank? Okay.
Yeah, in the Shark Tank, for sure. And she laid it out for me. She's like, listen, you want a new job. If you do poorly and you get injured or you have marks on your face, do you really want that to be the first impression when they see you? And I was like, no. And she goes, okay, so what if you have to go to the hospital and you break your leg? What happens then? Can you show up to work on Monday? Probably not. And she goes, the last thing, are you getting paid? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, then there you go. She's like, well, then there you go. So then I went and told Gabe, and that was it. That was like, and then he gave me an extra day, actually. So he gave me an extra day to think about it. And if I did have that extra day, I probably would have changed my mind. But what ended up happening was the other guy pulled out, I think, before me anyway. So it didn't matter. It was gonna be a wash.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I probably won't be. And I will tell him, I'm probably won't be fighting because of all those reasons.
Sure.
And
you don't want to put your girlfriend through it.
I don't want to put her through it.
Put your body through that.
I don't want to put my body through it. It's different. I don't want to put my body through it. And the other thing is too, like, you can't train. And Gabe said this on Tuesday. Like, you can't train 2 days a week and expect to go into a fight and do well. Like, if you feel that way, like, it's a little, it's arrogant. You need more time. Especially when it comes to striking, you need a lot more time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not just training in the gym. It's your diet. It's what you're doing at the gym.
Making it a lifestyle.
Making it a lifestyle. Like, it is a lifestyle. And I've explained that to a lot of people. And I'm like, and it was arrogant of me. Like, that competitive side of me is what said, hey, Gabe, I want to fight.
Sure.
And that's when I should have turned it off. Because it was like, I had to really think about it. I broke all my rules. It was like, okay, are you doing this 5 days a week? No. Are you dieting? No. Are you working out as hard as the gym that you're supposed to? No. So then why are you wanting to fight again? Right? Like, and I'm like, it took over and I shouldn't have. It shouldn't. And I felt like, I told Gabe sorry. I was like, hey, listen, man, I apologize. You know what I mean? I even offered to pay him too. I was like, hey, dude, did you pay anything to give him the fight? Because I would have gave him money. I'm like, dude, like, hey,
yeah.
Because he put in time, like, and to train us and all that. He doesn't have to, and he does.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I didn't pay anything. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, okay, cool, bro. Because I didn't want to do that. If he did pay for money for me to fight, I was like, dude, I'll be, hey, man, here's your money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have wasted your time. So I'm going to talk to him. Like, look, I'm going to train still, Muay Thai, but fighting wise, no, I'm good, man. I think I got a little ahead of myself when I said that. So,
Sure.
You just got excited.
I got excited, yeah, because I did my first competition, and it was like, oh, damn, we do a fight now. You know, and I have so much respect for Nick because he did pancreation, and I think that was another thing that's like, dude, Nick did that. I'm gonna do. But the difference is like Nick trains a lot. I don't, and that's what I didn't think about. It's like, dude, come on. Nick can do it because he's an animal. You know, not in the back. Like he's an animal. Yeah. I'm not. Like I can't do that.
I stay ready.
I stay ready. I stay ready. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then at your fight with the pancreation, like I stood next to Brittany and I saw how nervous she was, and I was like, damn, dude. I was like, can I put Lucky through that?
Yeah.
And
I do put her through a lot. So
yeah.
Thank you.
You know, and it's a nervous, and there was no head strikes in pancreation.
Right.
So it's
that was
like
the other thing.
Yeah. So even that, like, put her in that, and I'm like, do I want to do that, man? No. It's not good.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide right now if I'm going to try out MMA or not.
Yeah, I mean...
There's a lot of things that go into that.
There's a lot of things, yeah. I mean, and again, it's, you know, when it comes to that, you know, are you putting in the time, the effort, and
right.
Is everybody in agreement? Because there's wins and losses when it comes to that lifestyle.
Right.
Like, you know, so are you spending, how much time, you know, you got to spend time with your girlfriend or wife, significant other.
The right life balance.
Exactly. There's a life balance, man. It's hard, man. Like, and that's why I have so much respect for fighters my whole life. The athletes that I've always respected the most were fighters.
Sure.
These guys, I mean, here's the thing. You don't get paid for training. You don't get paid none of that.
Right.
So, like, you got to think about...
You pay to do these things.
You pay to do these things, and then you get to the event, and hopefully you win money. And maybe that won't equal up to the money that you put into train.
Right.
Because, and it's hard, man. You're training 5-7 days a week. Again, you know, if you have a wife or if you have kids, you got to spend time with them. You got to find space for them. These guys are training at least maybe a full day's worth of work, which is like an 8-hour day. Some guys, you know, they're not just hitting pads. They're watching tape. They're doing other kind of things. They're going to the gym. They're dieting. And then you got to get home. You're tired. You got a kid. You got to spend time with your kid. You got to spend time with your wife. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot to it, man. Like, and that's why I respect fighters the most. Because, man, that's rough, man. I can't imagine putting my girlfriend through that, you know, that kind of stuff. Like,
that's nice of you. I wish I had a significant other that doesn't care about putting me through things.
Well, you know, I'll say this. I say that, and I will say this. I don't practice all the time what I preach, okay? So I do miss some times where I don't. I'm a dude, man. Hey, sometimes I, do my own thing. Even now, the reason why I restricted my training 2 days a week is because my girlfriend's like, listen, you need to give time to me.
Yeah. Okay. See, I just made my wife come train with me.
I've tried, man. I've tried, and it's just not her thing.
You want me to come
play?
It's
okay.
I can just show up
at
her house.
Sure. So just show up at her house. Yeah. I mean, with her, she finally got to see what I do, like, during that time frame, and she was actually liking it. She was digging it. She was like, I'm never gonna do.
I'm working on Abro's wife right now.
I
think I've almost got her.
Think you almost got her to do it? All right.
Well, that's kind of my thing, though, right? Like, I meet our training partner, my training partner's wives and girlfriends, and then I get them to come train with me. Like I did, so I just yelled at Trevor or Tristan. Trevor. Uh-huh. I get them confused. Yeah. I just yelled at Trevor because he was at the competition too. It was his first Jujitsu competition. He's done tons of wrestling, but he was there, and there was a girl with him, and I didn't say anything to her because I was super busy that day, and I didn't really have enough time to introduce myself and try to talk to people. It was just more like oh, good job, and then run away and go to the next match. But I saw her, and I was just like, oh, I wonder who that is. And then he told me later, he's like, that was my wife. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that was your wife? I was like, I would have tried to convince her to come train with me.
I should have just introduced you to my girlfriend. I didn't even do that.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Well, I think I met. No, I haven't.
You might have seen her. She was behind. I think she was behind you and my family that was there.
Well, I was trying to remember if she was at the UFC thing, and she wasn't. So I haven't met Lucky, but I've heard lots about her. So Lucky, if you listen to this, I would love to train with you. Yeah. And that's what I do. I just tell women, I'm like, I will be the one to work with you. Like me personally, it's not like I'm just gonna stick you on some random person. Like I will be there almost every time that you're there.
She's always there.
The only time I'm not there is Sundays and Mondays. So like. I'm there 5 days a week. I will be there to train with you. I will be there to work with you. I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit. So
definitely.
Yeah. So you also have a YouTube channel that you talked about Jiu-Jitsu and stuff, right?
Okay.
A little bit, right? You have plans?
I have plans. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm just Chewy89. on YouTube. I have
Chewy89.
my whatever profile picture is Goku.
Okay.
Anime stuff.
Cool.
So you'll see me right away on there. Right now, it's just mostly gaming. There's a game I play called Marvel Crisis Protocol. As a matter of fact, how I got into Jujitsu was I met Corey, who's Nick's best friend, and we met through miniature gaming. And he's the one that said, "Hey, go to Fluid." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I met Nick, and I was like, "Hey, I know Corey." I was like, "All right, cool." Yeah. Corey's a cool man. He's one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, man. That dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The reason he's my best friend.
Yeah, he's great, man. I love talking. I could just me and him relating on a lot of levels too with certain things.
Yeah.
But whatever. But like he's just amazing, man. And now he's rolling, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he's doing jiu-jitsu again. I'm like, yes. Right,
yes.
Cool. But yeah, on there I play a game called Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's a miniature game. I build figs and paint them.
Yeah.
So I take an hour out of my day, build them, paint them, and it kind of just takes my brain away from everything else sometimes. I'm like,
that's good.
Cool, it's relaxing. I play the game. I play competitively in it. I went to Vegas and got top 8. I have like 70 players there.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Cool.
I didn't expect it. Like everybody was like, so we're a Discord channel and stuff.
Yeah.
And I made top 8 or top 16 at that point. And everybody's like, what the fuck? I was like, hey, YouTube guy? I'm like, yeah. And I was playing a list that wasn't conventional. So that was the other thing, too. I wasn't playing a conventional list. I was playing something totally different. And everybody's like, whoa, like, look at the kind of spin he took on it. And I was like, yeah, like, whatever.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Because everybody can go buy the figurines that make the top teams and just play that like everybody does.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I did that. I do that. I talk about the game a lot. Whenever they have a release, I do that. I also do other gaming stuff on there. And I'm trying to dabble in Jujitsu. Which is my first thing. We'll talk about my competition. I don't know where I'm going to take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I don't know.
But yeah, if you want to see more of Anthony, you can find him on YouTube, Chewy89. Also Twitch.
Twitch, yeah. Chewy89 or 891, one of those two.
Something like that.
We'll put a link in the bio.
Put a link in the bio. Something like that.
So yeah, but we appreciate having you on today. Lots of good stuff.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about lots of things, and like I said, just keep a good mindset.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's good advice for anyone listening, whether you're a brand new white belt or you've been training for 20 years. Like, just keep that open mindset that you're constantly improving. And
I'm going to be like 80, and I'll be like, bro, Anthony, check out this new Kimura variation I just saw on my virtual reality headset. That's microchipped into my brain. I don't know. Fuck.
Big old us being grumpy old men.
Yeah.
Like, I just learned something like this the other day and I break my hip. It's like, oh, man.
All right. Well, with that, have a great rest of your week, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.